Hi, guys, and welcome to the Team Panacea call. We do this call every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. That you go to place, find out what's working, what's not working, and just kind of touch base with everybody else. So right now we got people that are still traveling, coming back from Summit, which Cody and I just got home last night about 11 o'clock. So there's a lot of people, probably still traveling, still recovering. But show must go on, right? I want to share the information that I learned from Summit, and just encourage everybody to register on today, which is the last day to register for the discounted price. But so when we were while we were at Summit, we got to hear from Rachel Hollis. She was really good. I thought she was really good. And I'm just going to kind of go through some of the notes that I have, and then if some other people jump on the call, we'll hear from them too. But we'll certainly hear from Teresa. But a lot of my notes, at least these original ones, I think they came from the Rachel Hollis lecture, and when you're listening to motivational speakers or basically anybody who's talking kind of along those themes, you'll notice that it's not generally a lot of new information, right? I mean, it's stuff that you just need to hear and be reminded of again and again. It's like Jim Rohn used to compare personal development or listening to, some sort of personal development to, showering or bathing, because so you bathe and you get all clean and you're just like super clean, but, eventually that clean goes away. And you got to deal with something else, so you need to bathe again. So that was his logic behind the need to do. Hold on, just a second here. To do personal development, on a routine basis. And so one of the things that Rachel Hollis talked about that I say to a lot of people, or we see a lot of times in Beachbody, is what got you where you are is not going to get you where you want to be, or what got you here is not going to get you there. And that's one of the things that I see all the time when somebody signs up to be a coach. They sign up because they want to change something about their life, but they don't change anything about their behavior, except now they're a coach, right? And so if you don't change your life and the way you spend your time, then you're not going to change your life, and so if you still watch the same amount of TV, if you still don't do your workouts or do your personal development or do any of these other things, then just because you got a coach account doesn't mean that anything's going to change. So and she talks about that the second time you do something, you need to level up. Every time that you get to try something again, then you need to be doing better than you did last time, even if it's just 1% doing better than you did last time and improving. And she talks about that there's always, in every business you have this a valley, right? You might be in a valley, whether it's personally or financially or mentally, spiritually, or whatever. But the reason it's a valley is because there's a rise on both sides, right? So you don't stay in the valley. You have to eventually get out of the valley and the way you do those things or get out of that valley is to do different things or do something more than what you're doing now. And when you sign up to be a coach, or when you start a business, or when you do these other things, you're choosing a life that's different than others. So you have to do different things than others. You see that. I mean, this is almost like my first half page of notes, and it's almost all the same stuff, right? Just said differently, but it's pretty much the sing thing. You're choosing a life that's different than other people. So you have to do things different than other people. And one thing that she said, and it's so true in this business, is one of the most powerful things you can do is forget about or not worry about what other people are going to say about you or think about you, and that's hard to do. It's even still hard for me to do from time to time, But when I really don't give a darn what other people are saying, man, my business rocks, that month in particular, right? I send 25 invites a day, just blanket, copy and paste. Hello, young lady. Cody and I are starting an accountability group soon. We were thinking maybe you'd want to join. How's that sound? Question mark. And, and I just go over, I use Teamsy now. And so, and I've got this list, and I send that out to those 25 people. And you know what? 90% of them don't answer me. But the 10% do are people that I wouldn't have been talking to if I didn't do that. If I'm strictly just trying to talk to people who click like or comment on some of my stuff. So, it's important to, and that's something that I used to not do, right? And that's why my business is doing better than it did now. And so I love to see that, so many people that are coming back from Summit on here. One of the things that you have to do, though, and you heard it at Summit also, is you have to make a decision and commit, and then you have to apply what it is that you learned. You have to take immediate action, right? You can't just, say, man, that was awesome, and then not do anything about, about what it is that you learned. Yeah, I'll tell you in just a minute, Cassandra. I love this quote, and I think this was Rachel Hollis too. And, and it's a question that all of us probably could look in the mirror and ask ourselves about something, whether it's the business or our fitness or whatever goal we set, which is, do you want it, like really want it, or do you just want to keep saying that you want it? And I think that I was like, wow, that's a big deal, because people will be like, oh man, I really want to do this, or I really want to do that, whether it's, achieve a rank or whatever. And when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, did you send your invites? Did you do this? Did you do that? And they're like, no, I really didn't. And, and if you can't handle the stress of where you are right now, again, this is Rachel Hollis stuff, but if you can't handle the stress of where you are now, then it's going to be hard to handle the stress that you have in the future. Because like, as some of you, most of you have coaches of your own, and I'm just telling you that it doesn't get any easier, right? Like if you have 2 coaches or 200 coaches, you're still going to have the same problems. You're still going to have coaches that need their hands held. You're still going to have coaches that, go inactive. You're still going to have, all of these things. You're probably just going to have it more often because you have more coaches. And so it's just, every problem that you have now, for the most part, as far as your team, that's not going away. That's just part of this business. But what we're doing is we're looking for people who are looking for us, looking for people who are serious about their business and want their business to succeed, and understand that in the end, it's up to them for their business to succeed, and not somebody else. And so from the leadership, I'm going to be posting these slides, but from one of our leadership deals, this was from Danielle Natoni, and I'm going to say this, and then I'll talk a little bit about Teamsy and posting about the Groupons or Groupons promo codes. But what Danielle was talking about, she said, if you don't make Success Club, how in the world can you expect your coaches to, right? If you don't use Shakeology because you think it's too expensive, how in the world, can you expect your coaches to, or your customers to? It's really the speed of the leader, speed of the pack kind of thing. And so there's been some talking amongst some of my peers and stuff about, hey, how is Success Club really that important? And I still say, yes, it is. They're like, well, I think volume is really important. Well, you know how you get volume? By making Success Club. I mean, if you sell 3 challenge packs in the month, and that's say 300 points of team volume, personal volume, whatever. I'm rounding up, right? And then you do it again the next month. So you had that original 300 points, and then you get another 300 points, and then you do it again. Then it's 900 points, and it just keeps compounding like that. So when people tell me, well, I don't think Success Club is that important, it generally, I can guarantee you that their business is not growing, and a lot of times it's people that used to be right there with me that were like, that Success Club was super important. And one of the things Danielle talked about too, which I thought was really interesting, was she just was like, hey, what was your goal as a child, or when you grew up, you wanted to be this or do this? And I mean, I understand some of us might say astronaut or whatever, something crazy like that. But she's like, if your kid walked up to you and was like, hey, mom or dad, what did you want to do when you grew up? Would you be comfortable answering that based on, what it is that you're doing now? And, I think that we all have to kind of ask that question, or, I'm not asking, that's rhetorical. I'm not expecting anybody to answer, but I thought it was an interesting thing to say. And she had an acronym for diamonds, and, it's about developing new diamonds. You find the people who are looking for us, and there's slides that we'll post when they post them. But developing these new leaders and then investing in them, and making sure that you're helping them reach whatever goals that they want. And you're looking for more people like that. And then you're supposed to, again, be modeling that kind of behavior. And, I'll be honest with you, a couple of these, I've just got the acronym written down, and without the slides, I can't remember what what she exactly meant by nourish. But then, and duplicate, and just be sure to tell your story. There was one other thing that I really loved hearing, or somebody saying, and I think it was in the general session, but, it's okay to be real, right? In fact, it's important to be real and be vulnerable. But, what she talked about was, be real and vulnerable and share your story and share your struggle, but spin it in a way that you win it, right? So when you talk about that silver lining, if you're like, oh my gosh, I was so busy today, I ate a bunch of junk, and I didn't get my workout in, and, I feel terrible. Some people might just be like, period. And that's the end of their post, right? Or you can be like, but the important thing is I understand that tomorrow's a new day, and I'm going to do better tomorrow, and I'm going to eat cleaner, and maybe I'm going to double up on my workouts, but I guarantee I'm not going to miss another one, period, right? You can share your struggles, but spin it to win it. So very quickly, I'll talk about TeamZ. TeamZ is, it's one of many different ways to track your business. I like it. I use it. One of the cool things about it is that you get to try it for 30 days for free. And you can import all of your people from Facebook and your contact list and pretty much all these different platforms. And then it tells you, it gives you, hey, this, you message, or you put in the parameters. This is how many people I want to talk to every day. This is how many coaches I need to talk to every day. And basically you set it out as, hey, this is the behaviors that I need to be doing every day. And as you do them, like as you reach out to somebody, when I'm sending my donuts, for example, hey, you want to join our accountability group, I might send it to Carrie Benkowski, not the coach Carrie Benkowski, but because her name's in front of me, that's the name I'm using. And so then I click on there, that I sent an invite to an accountability group to Carrie, and it automatically gives me a follow-up date for 2 days later. And so then, as I'm going through, I go through and I send out my new invites. Then I go to my follow-ups and I make sure I do all of those follow-ups. And, if I need to, I follow up again. It's a really great way to be accountable. It's about $30 a month, but I would encourage you, especially you, Cassandra, just coming back from Summit. You got 30. It's free for 30 days, and just jump in there and give it a shot, and then make use of it. Because if you do it, I guarantee you that if you use it, you'll put more effort into your business than if you didn't. If you're tracking your activity, you're much more likely to actually put in the activity that you're supposed to. And then about posting about the offers, you can just say, I just came back. I'm super excited about this. I wasn't sure what to do, or just whatever you left feeling from Summit, talking about the business side of things, right? Whatever you left feeling from Summit, man, I'm so excited. This was my first Summit, and I saw all of these other people that are really successful in this business and earning, a good living, building this business, just talking to people on Facebook. And you know what I learned? They're just like me. So if they can do it, why not me? And so I'm about to take this thing to the moon. You guys hide and watch, because I'm going to the moon with this. And the cool thing is that I actually got 3 promo codes to where the first 3 people that join me are getting $10 off. How awesome is that? And, and then if they're joining you and they're doing Morning Meltdown 100, you don't want to make your post too long, but put them in the Team Panacea Morning Meltdown group and tell them to do their posts, and, they can win $25 gift card, or they get entered into the drawing for that $25 gift card, because anybody who's in that group is eligible for that. And last week, only 4 people did the simple steps that were there, so they had a 25% chance of winning. And of course, Miss Consistency, Kim Bickle, won it, right? Because when I put that up there, I knew Kim Bickle was going to do all that stuff. So that was awesome. Now I want to I'm going to unmute Teresa first, and I'd like to just hear, you don't have to talk a long time, but just a few minutes of your takeaways and what it is that you learned. And in fact, I would like you to close with what kind of immediate action you're going to take. And and I'll tell you the immediate action that I'm going to take. One of them is I'm going to make more videos. I got a little video idea list here. And this isn't necessarily something that I learned in Summit, but I'm actually going to create an album in Team Pan, seeing as how it wasn't that challenging for me to create an album with Christina's request or suggestion for Summit. Or maybe I suggested you do it and then I did it, but whatever. It's because you had a bunch of pictures I knew. Anyway, I'm going to make an album for, video tips. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't have to just be me uploading videos, right? I would love it if you guys, if you learned something or did something that you think other people are going to have value in, share that stuff in Team Pan, right? It's important, when I was a cop, I learned as much teaching others, and still as a coach, than I did by attending a class. So teach others, and you're going to be reminding yourself about it. And the other thing is I've got a list here going of people that I want to work with, and I hope that they want to work with me. Just getting things rolling, getting some accountability going. All right, now I'm going to quit talking. That's my immediate action that I'm going to be taking, and I'm going to unmute Teresa. It's all you, young lady.
Okay, excuse me. I went to the Coach Business Accelerators trainings, and one of the topics in there was about building your brand, and it was led by Ashley Molstead and Emily Favre, I think that's how you say it. And they were just talking about how to create a brand for yourself, and they kind of went through some steps about what you needed to do, like pick 5 things that you have an interest in or that make you who you are, and go from there. So I thought about that all the way home, just trying to figure out what 5 things I could put together and make that something that I talk about to try to connect with others. And then they pretty much define what a brand is, like, how to create one, and just kind of showing like what's important, like reaching out and without actually saying, I'm doing this program, or just, and then not always talking about the program or about Beachbody, just talking about different things that you like to do to make you, I guess, more relatable. um, and then I can't remember if it was Ashley or Emily that said, and just do a little sprinkle of fitness into your post. They also said to create fans and not followers. I thought that was pretty neat. Just thinking about that. And they said to use the Insta stories, and that's one thing that I want to work on, because I use the Insta stories, but it's not like me speaking about what I'm doing, what's going on. It's more so just like images and pictures that I take, instead of like speaking or anything like that. So I know that's one thing that I do need to work on. And then they were talking about how to tell a story and versus storytelling. Um, and then how to, when you make a post like on Instagram or Facebook, make it, the picture, make them want to stop scrolling and read your post because of the picture that you took. And even they were saying things like, if you talk about your dogs, about your kids, about your hobbies, because you never know what someone else might attract. I can't remember who was saying that they were a military spouse, and that kind of jumped out at me because I'm in that same boat as well. And I thought that could be something that I could use too. Because at first I didn't think about that. And then they did say just to go all in and kind of, not be so fearful of the no's, and to just go all in. And like she said, to sprinkle a little bit of fitness in there. Um, let's see. Then they said to talk about being more relatable, and that it may not come easy, because it doesn't come easy to everybody, but we all have to go through the same thing in the beginning, as far as doing the vital behaviors, the personal development. So which I feel like I've been doing, but I just my biggest thing that I need to work on is just the inviting. I just have I don't know. I feel awkward, I guess. I think it might be more so maybe the way I'm wording it, and that is something that I do want to work on from going forward after attending summit.
Awesome. Yeah, and so, and I'm not going to talk after every single person, but you know, I want to ask you later, or maybe you can make a video in Team Pan. In fact, this is my challenge to you. I want you to make a video in Team Pan explaining the difference between storytelling and telling a story. Because
Okay.
I don't know what that means, and I'm interested
Okay.
in it, but I don't want us to be here all night either, and I want to hear from everybody else.
Okay.
And I want you to send me what your invite looks like, and I'll give you some feedback on that. And
Okay.
I feel exactly the same way. I understand exactly how you feel, because I felt the same way about sending out donuts or invites.
Right.
I mean, and I would seriously go to meetings or summit or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, I send out 50 invites a day," and I was like, "No, you don't.
Right.
You just don't want to tell us your secret. No, you don't."
Right.
And they do, because when I send out a ton of invites, my business does a lot better. So,
Right.
all right. So I'm gonna look forward to that video. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Send me what your invite looks like, and let me
Okay.
offer you some help on that. Who wants to go next? Somebody show me your hand. Zeta, Christina, Cassandra. Anybody? Okay, I pick you, Christina. Go ahead.
Trying to give other people a chance. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so I was in the Leadership 1 track, and the very last talk on the last day was the one that just spoke the loudest to me. And I happened to have recorded it because one of my roommates had to leave. So I recorded it. So I just put it up as a YouTube link so I can share it in Team Pan later. The topic was creating balance, 10 smarter ways to run a small business. And it was Tina Gray or Trina Gray. I can't read her name. So I took pictures of some slides too. And I'm not going to go through all the slides now, don't worry. But just just a couple of the things and how it spoke to me. To find balance, seek clarity. And it was like, one, who am I? Where am I going? How am I getting there? And a thread that kept speaking to me in this summit was, we all know this. I've been in the business like 5 years now. So defining your why. The thing is, my why has changed and I haven't redefined it. The reasons I started the business are no longer the reasons to stay in it. So it's not real motivating to do it, to do the work, because I don't really know why I'm doing it. So with that in mind, the seeking clarity, that is going to be one of my first calls to action, so that I have a clearly defined why again. And then, went on about, to find balance, you have to overcome distraction. And it was distraction of the mind, which is like worrying and overthinking. Like, how many times do we do this? And then distraction in your work, just winging it or overcomplicating it. So then she went, based on that beginning, she went down and did, for balance, you need a strong mindset and strong strategy. And then she broke down like 5 things of each. And that I just want to like dig into. I'm going to listen to the recording again and dig into the notes, because everything I heard, every other workshop at Summit, I can apply when I first break this down, how it applies to me, like my why and what my struggles are. And then I know how to do the things, but first I have to define me and what works and what doesn't work, and I can go from there. So I found this really, really helpful. And for my other teammate that had missed it, my little sister team, I had put it up on our team page, so I could certainly do that and put an album with the link and all the slides, because I think every stage of us could benefit from this information. But that spoke the loudest to me. It was really, really cool.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. Trina Gray is brilliant. Like, every time I've heard her speak, she's had some brilliant stuff. One of the things that she said to me that I still think of or repeat all the time, is she didn't say it like to me. She said it to me and the several other 100 or 1,000 people that were in the room. But was, when somebody's like, they can't work their business because they donate so much time at church or something like that. She's like, look, you know what? I mean, what I want to do is I want to get to a spot where when the church is, they're having a luncheon or they're feeding the homeless or whatever. And they're like, so here's the list of things that we need people to buy. And, we need 15 people to come in here and spoon out soup for 8 hours. She's like, I want to be the person that's like, I'll just buy the stuff, because it's one of those supply and demand kind of things where anybody can go up there and spoon out, food for 8 hours, right? But only people who make certain choices to put themselves in a position where they're like, hey, you know what, why don't I just write the check for $300 for the food or something like that, and right. Then you write that check and then you spend the day, you've helped just as much as everybody else in a way that they weren't able to help necessarily. And then you spend the day with your family or building your business. So next time you can do something else. I mean, I talked to a coach one time over lunch where, she spent she bought a gym for she paid to have it built, $20,000 to have a basketball court built for her church, Right. There's not a lot of people that can do that, Right. So, anyway, awesome. That's great stuff.
Can I piggyback on that?
Yeah, of course.
Because when I was first in the business, I was super involved in church things. I used to run our VBS as youth minister, just very time consuming stuff, plus another nonprofit. So I pulled back from those, which was great. And I had poured into my business. I was doing well. But then what I found was there was something missing in me, because my personality and just the way that I am, I have a servant's heart. So that was like, I had wiped all of that out of my life. And so now what I've done is I've stepped back in, but instead of running the whole thing, I do smaller, I'm able to donate monetarily now, Rob and I are, and I'm able to say, you know, I'll help the day of the event, but I'm not going to be running all these meetings. So I have found that balance even in my service, because I had lost a piece of myself when I had just cut it all out completely.
Right.
So that's something I've learned in the last 5 years. And now I'm finding where I still am prioritizing things differently. I can still give, but I don't have to do it all anymore. And I don't have to run it anymore.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. That's great.
Thanks.
Zita, you have something?
Something little.
What do you?
In same group with Teresa, I understood in that Emerald training. And I really learned about stories. Like I use Instagram a lot, and they have my own Facebook page. I don't post too much on Facebook, you know, my main Facebook. I have created page, and they were talking about stories on Instagram. Do little pieces of your day, like in the stories, but not post, like on your Instagram feed. They recommended actually in our group, they say 1 post a day on Instagram, it's enough, but do like meaningful posts, something like give people value, not just like random, I work out today and done, you know, but something, what workout gives me, what those 4 years, I am 4 years with you guys, with Team Beachbody, but like in that long description of my post should be like how I feel different since I start working out or drinking that sexy mama shake or whatever you call, other people call. But they also say, don't say names like I am drinking Shakeology, say superfoods or whatever you name that, you know. I usually use on my page superfoods, and I notice people actually asking what's in your superfoods, but then I can message them privately and tell about Shakeology. So I think I'm going to use more stories instead post and annoy people, but I'm going to post 1 or 2 posts a day, but something meaningful. I think that's going to help you. And also one of those coaches, they say she works in little pockets of her time, so busy days, so you don't have to sit all the time. Like I usually get up 4 a.m. and do my follow-ups before my work. I work in hospital, so I think those pockets of the time works too for people because we're all busy. So I do in morning my messages, follow-ups, like you do Teamsy. I do different. I do my connection builder, but it's almost like Teamsy. And I do 4 o'clock, then at night, I go back through my messages. If I got some back, I answer them. You know, I'm going to work in my pockets too, not just keep myself busy all day long on computer here. I agree with you. Success Club is important, and I am trying push. I am 4 right now, but I think I just sent a couple cards today with 1 promo code already. So I'm excited. I got 3 promo codes, so I have 2 more to offer tomorrow. But when I come back from Summit, it was my 2nd Summit. I am so pumped. I really want to do a lot, and I just signed up for next Summit. So thanks for pushing me, Chris. And I like that create fans, not followers too, because our real fans gonna like who you are, real you, and followers, they, you know, gonna follow you, they don't care. But I have some fans, interesting fans on my page. Actually, a couple years ago, I started my page, and from 200, I have like a lot now. Real followers, or they create fans. So I have fans, and they love me who I am. They like my foods, they like my hummingbirds, they like my gardening, not just workouts. So I think I like that. I think that's it. I didn't.
That's awesome, and seeing that's a really great example of having a brand, right?
Yeah, brand definitely helps. I am not one of those who have always lipstick and hair done, so I can't represent that brand in one of my movies or something. But I am just who I am. I am cooking. I am mom, so I think I like that branding thing.
Right. So, and you know what? I don't use Instagram stories, but I should, and I'll eventually get around to that. But you know, it's the people that are successful with this. I mean, they're so intentional about their stuff. Like one of the times when I was watching somebody else teach on this, I was just like, dude, that's so smart. And it's so intentional too, where where they were talking about doing their Instagram stories and they had a message to deliver, but they were doing it like with oversized flashcards, right? Because they were like, you know what? A lot of people are like secretly thumbing through Instagram or watching Instagram stories at work or somewhere where they can't have the volume turned up. And so they might be seeing my message, you know, or my video, but they have no idea what I'm saying. And so they're using these cards, you know, and so they're still delivering the message in a unique way, in a way that, you know, that person hiding in their cubicle, you know, scrolling Facebook or whatever, can still hear the message. That's awesome.
Instagram stories, you actually can see who is watching you, and you can message them and say, hey, thank you for watching me, like, and kind of make conversation. I think it works. I already messaged few people like this, because if same person watching you day by day, you know, she wants to know something. So I usually just say thank you and kind of start in conversation. It works. I think
Awesome.
I like Instagram stories.
That's great. All right. We're going to close out with Cassandra. It was awesome to meet her. And boy, she and Irina, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Stayed up all night. Yeah. Stayed up all night dancing and then got in line for the super workout at like 3 a.m. in the morning. That's insane. But so
Real story.
yeah. So that's a pretty great story, right? You can share that. That's how much fun I had. Stayed up all night, went dancing, and then went and worked out. But tell us about what your takeaways are from Summit.
So the first class that I made when I got there was the finance class, and one of the things that really hit home with me was how she was talking about like prioritizing where your money goes and like living life how you want it to be. So investing in your money and how you want your life to be, and that's really important because my customers, my leads need to see that. So, and they need to see that I'm being consistent, that I'm investing in my business, and that, yeah.
Right. No, that's awesome. You know, and as a new coach, you know, it's one of the things, before we started the recording, I was talking to Lizette or Teresa, I don't remember, but, you know, one of those about somebody was telling me, oh, well, you know, I can't afford to go to Summit. And I was like, you know, you make $100 a week or $75, whatever it is that you make it with Beachbody. You know, one of the things, if you're making money with Beachbody, especially if you're making money with Beachbody, you need to be saving up to go to Summit. I mean, you reinvest back into your business, you know, and I mean, I know you had flight delays and all this other stuff, so you missed part of it, but you know, I really appreciated that, you know, you got to experience both parts, even though, you know, you stayed up and went out and partied. That's great, but you were still, you know, doing the workout and doing the other aspect of it too, because it's funny, because I'm going to disagree with one of my buddies, and I'm not going to say his name actually after all, but it's just there's different ways to skin a cat, right? There's different leadership examples where you know, he was talking about that he missed a particular session because he doesn't go to Summit to learn anymore, and I get that to a certain extent, right? I mean, when you get to a really high level, and he is, you know, you're not going to hear a whole lot of new stuff. The stuff that a lot of what you're going to learn, and even no matter what level it is, a lot of what you're going to learn from Summit, you're going to learn across a cocktail table or you know, in a hallway or something like that. But he was talking about that he was walking to Summit, you know, to one of the meetings, and he came across a table that had like, you know, 10 of his coaches or 10 of his downline, and they were sitting there. So he decided to stay with them. And so, you know, and he was like, that's what I needed to do. And I agree that, you know, now that time became pretty valuable to those 10 coaches. But if it's 10, brand new coaches, and they're deciding to sit around and drink beer and eat wings instead of going to one of the general sessions or something like that, then and they don't get met by their upline rock star, then they might not be using their time as wisely as they could. It's one of those things that, like she said, Rachel Hollis said, you need to level up, and you go to this summit, and so hopefully next summit your rank's going to be better, or you're going to have a bigger team, or something is going to be leveled up from when you did it last time. I was super excited to see you, Cassandra, there, and I'm super excited to see you on the call. I think this is the first time I've seen you on a call, if maybe not, but so that's awesome. This is
I think the first time in a while, and that's
Yeah.
why all this stuff really hit home, because like even though I was a coach, I was just like a discount coach, so it's
Right.
like I was just kind of going through the motions. I wasn't, really putting in what I needed to.
right. Yeah, I mean, the only thing different about your life was that you were a coach. It wasn't like the activity probably
Exactly.
wasn't that much different. So yeah, I mean, and I'm going to close with something I've said a million times before. If you've heard me talking about it, like when I signed up to be a coach, originally I signed up just for the discount, but then like as soon as I saw what was possible, and it was very soon after I signed up, because I went to a meeting and I met other people who were closing in on the $1 million mark, and I was like, they're just like me. I didn't watch TV for like a year and a half, except for Survivor. I always say that. Never missed an episode of Survivor. Still haven't. But I didn't I didn't watch any TV for a year and a half, because I was either going to work on my real job, or I was building this, and it's kind of like Jim Rohn talks about. He's like, go to work full time at your real job and part time on your fortune. I'm kind of butchered that a little bit, but that's what he taught. He's like, when you got a real job, go do your real job. That's your full time job. Your part time job is building your fortune. So, and that's what Beachbody can be. Anybody have anything else before we close?
I forgot to tell you my immediate action goal.
Yes, tell me your immediate action goal.
3 people to accept those challenge pack
Okay.
offers.
And how many invites is that going to take to make that happen?
I
Because
don't know.
that's not your action goal. That's somebody else, right? So how many people are you going to invite to get at least 3? And you can answer later. You can, because your immediate action right now that you're leaving us with. Hello, how are you? They're in the background over the shoulder. Is to determine how many people you're going to talk to on a daily basis, right? There's a really fantastic book called Go for No. Have you read it?
I haven't.
Okay, so if you don't have an Audible account, you should get it. But what's great about this book is it talks about, you don't go looking for yeses as a salesperson, right? You go looking for no's, because the example that they give, let's say that 3 people is the goal for a month, right? You set your goal at 3, and on day 1, 3 people say yes. So like by human nature, a lot of people are like, shoo, man, I got 29 days to coast, and they don't do anything else. So in this, the analogy was, I need 100 people to tell me, hey buddy, I need 100 people to tell me no. So, so that person's like, no, not for me. Okay, cool, thanks. And so that's the number. That's how many no's I need to get. So, and if I get a whole bunch of yeses, that's cool. But I don't have a number of yeses, because, what you can do is you can just set about, this is how many invites I need to do on a day or a week. And so that number stays consistent every day, to where if you have a good morning or you have a good first half hour, you're not just like, all right, never mind, and you coast, right?
Right.
All right. Okay, so you're going to share your immediate action in Team Pan for us. Okay, pick that number, whatever works for you, and go to teamz.com. And I mean, and you can put the number in there. That'll tell you. You know, one of the cool things about that Teamz deal is you say, you know, it gives you a formula. You're like, hey, I want to earn this much money by this date, you know, and it's like, cool. Then you need to talk to this many people. You need to add this many people. You need, and so it tells you based on your goals, this is what your daily activity has to be. And then it keeps track of what you do. So give it a shot. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being on the call. Get registered for Summit if you haven't, and make sure you got a place to stay too, because those hotel rooms go fast. Check out VRBO or Airbnb also. All right. See you guys. Thanks for being on the call.
Good night.
Good night.